Hello and welcome to Talk Wordy. This is my sort of epicenter for all the words that I write, read, and otherwise want to yap about. You're welcome. My name is Sydney, and this is kind of a fever dream. I've only been thinking about starting a podcast for like the last 2 years. I've really been at war in my mind over it for like the last 5 or 6 months. And what finally made me win out was number one, my husband is literally Bob the Builder and built me the studio of my dreams. I love him. He's awesome. But also, I just stopped caring about how others will perceive me and how I will perceive myself. I just have to like not give a rat's rear end about my digital footprint anymore. Because even though I am Gen Z, I'm giving millennial cringe. And you know what? If that is my personal brand, it is what it is. So yeah, there's going to be lots of ups and downs with this podcast, as in like everybody says, market to your niche, find your niche audience and make sure you stick to that. It is very hard to put this in a box. That's just not going to happen. So we're going to be a little all over the place. But you know what? I'm glad you're along for the ride and it's going to be fun. Let's talk about Ticketmaster. Okay. Without getting into any kind of like a slander type situation, I just want to say like we've all had our beef with Ticketmaster. Okay. I could host a TED Talk on the fiasco that was the Eras tour and trying to get tickets. Although I personally, somehow, by the grace of God, managed to get tickets in one of the pre-sales. Thank you to my ex-boss and his Capital One credit card. But I'm not specifically wanting to harp on the Eras tour specifically. However, Ticketmaster needs to hear my voice when I say that last week I had one of the worst experiences in the world trying to get tickets to the one, the only, Lorde. Let's get into it. Okay. I have loved Lorde. I love you, Lorde. That's like every time I say her name, I'm like, okay, getting a little gospel in here. No. I have been on the Lorde train, all aboard the Lorde train. I have been in her like fandom, not like super scary fandom, but just like really invested in her music and like loving everything that she's about since the very beginning, since Pure Heroine, since Royals, which would put me at about 13 or 14 years old, if I'm doing my math correctly. She was the soundtrack of my middle school life. Have you seen, first of all, I cannot believe that my childhood, my culture is being romanticized. My middle school years are being romanticized. I feel antique, you guys. There are videos on TikTok that Gen Alpha is posting about like, oh, if only I could have been a teenager in the 2010s. Life was so beautiful. Oh my gosh, don't even get me started. It makes me so mad. It makes me feel like I am dust. Dust to dust, back to earth. I'm dead. I'm old. I'm decrepit. I am a vagabond. Okay. But no, I have been listening to her music since middle school and it just, anyways, yeah, the soundtrack of my middle school life. These kids are making videos of like everything that was popular and trendy in like 2013, 2014. And I swear to you, Royals is always the backing track of it. And for good reason. That song was iconic. That whole album was iconic. And don't even get me started on melodrama because literally I feel like Lorde's Pure Heroine album was genuinely one of the best debut albums of all time for any artist. You can argue with the wall. I don't care. She ate it up. And then she followed it up with melodrama. And I was like, oh, she is going to be like a whole supernova. I mean, she already is. Like, she's not just a star. She's a full-blown cosmic event in the industry. We're not going to talk too much about solar power because reasons, but those two albums specifically, like, oh my gosh, had an absolute chokehold on me. I couldn't get it out of my brain. As an author, Writer in the Dark was a formative experience. And it's literally like ingrained into my DNA. unfortunately. So the Ticketmaster scandal, let's get into it. Last Friday, the general on sale tickets went out for her tour. As somebody that's from the North Texas area, I was very displeased to see that there was only one stop in Texas that she was going to make. And I literally just noticed that I was kind of grabbing. I'm so tense about this story that I'm like grabbing the edge of my chair. Oh my gosh. Anyways, yeah, so North Texas girly here, her one and only stop in Texas was in Austin. And because of that, I almost decided just like not to even buy tickets. But here's the thing. I missed every single tour that she went on, and Homegirl releases albums maybe once every 4 years. And who knows? You know, life is short. You never know when you're going to kick the bucket. Let's be real. That's what I think about every time a new Taylor Swift album comes out. Am I going to live to see the next Taylor album? Truly, it keeps me going. Okay. So, you know, level with me here. The same thing applies to Lorde. And I have been dying to go to a tour of hers forever. My first concert was when I was 17, and that was after I missed the Melodrama tour, because I wanted to go so bad, but I guess like my family was like too worried that like going to a concert wasn't safe, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, my first concert was Imagine Dragons. Please don't drag me for it. It was actually a very good concert. I had so much fun. But yeah, I missed my time. I missed Lorde's Days in the Sun, and I didn't get to go to her tour. So I was like, okay, I'm going to brave Ticketmaster. It shouldn't be that bad, right? Tickets for Lorde shouldn't be that difficult to secure, right? Oh, I was so humbled. I was so wrong. Listen, I had a friend text me a couple days previously, and she was like, I got tickets to Lorde. And I was so excited because, mind you, I go to concerts with her like all the time. Also, if she's listening to this, I'm not dragging you, I swear. I'm just explaining the buildup of how these events transpired for me. Okay, so she texted me and was like, I got tickets to Lorde. And in my head, I was like, okay, let me mentally prepare for how much I need to Venmo her for my ticket. And then I realized that she corrected herself then. And she was like, yeah, my friend got the ticket. Like, my friend got a presale code, or my friend got tickets for us on presale, like her and her friend, not me. She was just reporting the cool news to me. And, you know, to which I was like, congrats. Like, that's really awesome. Just like crying in the corner, like, thanks for sharing. And so then I was like, okay, but had she not said that, I wouldn't have even realized that tickets had gone on sale, because I think it's illegal to put your tickets for your tour out before your album's even out. Because what do you mean this tour is probably going to cover the most of her album and there is one track of it out publicly? What do you mean? All I have to go off of is What Was That? To be fair, that song is gas. Obviously, I was hooked. I'm really fighting the urge not to say obviously, like Severus Snape. That vocal stem is going to make an appearance several times in this podcast, and I apologize in advance. Anyways, I had What Was That to go off of. X amount of dollars spent on a concert ticket for an album I don't even know how it's going to sound cohesively or sonically. And after Solar Power, that's a big freaking risk. I love Lorde. Okay, listen. That album was definitely her weakest out of her discography. I mean, compared to Melodrama and Pure Heroine, Get Real, it was the weakest. One of them had to be the weakest, and it wasn't going to be those two. And so going into the Ticketmaster queue for Lorde, I was like, oh my gosh, like, it's just me. It's literally just me against Ticketmaster. And it's just one ticket. I've won before, and I won in the Eras Tour queue. There's no way that I'm not going to win in the Lorde queue. I literally felt like Ticketmaster got its big booted foot and crushed me like a bug underneath. I was so disappointed. And mind you, I was in the queue early. I was one of the first few that were admitted like instantly. I think I got into the actual ticket purchasing area at 10:01. General sale was 10 a.m. Not a single blue dot lit up for me to purchase anywhere. Not the nosebleeds, not the floor, not the pit, not behind the mother frickin' stage. Nowhere. I was devastated. I literally texted my husband and I was like, this is the worst day ever. I'm going to cry at my desk. And then somebody called me on the receptionist phone at my job. And I was like, I don't want to talk to you. I did not actually say that. I did take up the phone. I was a professional. But I definitely was like scheduling a future cry in the bathroom. And it was just a travesty. I was devastated. I was like, what do you mean I might be 30 and be a mother by the time Lorde goes on another tour? I was so upset, especially paired with the fact that like I had text receipts that like my friend was going to go see it and post about it, and never in a malicious way, but like, oh, it was eating me alive. I almost called it right there. I kept my Ticketmaster app open for like another 15 minutes. Nothing was happening. And finally, I think I texted my husband or maybe I texted one of my other friends. I can't remember who I texted, but I was like, I cannot believe that I'm about to go on scalper sites and figure out how to land myself a ticket. And whoever it was, I bet they were rolling their eyes at me over the phone and was like, you should look at SeatGeek. Not sponsored, by the way. And I was like, isn't SeatGeek a scalper site? And they were like, no, it's a verified seller. I face palmed at my desk and I went over to SeatGeek and I was like, okay, what do we have? Y'all, I found the most perfect affordable seat for this freaking concert ever. I am so stoked. It is in the dead center, first terrace, lower half. But yeah, it's the most perfect ticket spot for me. And if I can make friends at the Taylor Swift concert sitting by myself, I can do it at Lorde. I'll figure it out. If some friend group needs their pictures taken, I volunteer as tribute. Okay. Like I'll do it. It's fine. But yeah, so that was the journey of how I got my Lorde ticket. And, I'm so excited. Listen, again, even though we only have one track out, as like a sampler of the album, I'm so thrilled for the album. I'm so stoked. June 27th is going to be a magnificent day for Sydney. Okay. Because I'm going to stay up late, midnight of that Friday. Like that starts the day. I will listen to the Lorde album just straight into like the 1 a.m., maybe 2 a.m. hour, depending on if I need to like refresh or like decompress, process some things. Then I will go to sleep and then I will wake up, body clock, breakfast. We know the drill. Okay. Now, after the album has been listened to and thoroughly digested, along with my breakfast, we will then report to the couch and I will put on Squid Game Season 3. Expect nothing less. Oh my gosh, Squid Game is so good, which is wild because my brain, I have a very wild, vivid imagination. And that is why I choose not to watch horror movies or like really dark, gritty, terrifying media. But something about Squid Game, y'all, it scratches an itch in my brain. It's so captivating and so freaking gory. Like it's nasty out there, y'all. Like if you're squeamish, if you can't do blood, this is not the show for you. It's really not. Oh, I remember literally because the second season came out the day after Christmas this past year. And it was like, oh, family time. Jesus was born. It's great. Unwrap presents. Good night. Merry Christmas. It was a blessed day. The next morning, Squid Game was on my TV until the season was over. All of the Christmas joy left the building immediately. It was just so good, and I cannot wait to see how they wrap it up. I'm a little nervous, but I think it'll be good. If anybody out there likes Squid Games the way I do, the Lorde album comes out, I'll stream it, breakfast, watching Squid Game, and then I'll probably be emotionally devoid inside, and I'll need to lift myself back up. And so if for some reason Virgin, that is Lorde's album, if Virgin is not doing it for me, which I doubt that it won't. Like, I doubt that it won't do something for me. I'll just stream Brat, because I feel like Brat is Lord adjacent. Stream Girl So Confusing remix. It's literally my summer anthem right now. I know Brat summer was technically 2024. I was behind the curve. So now Brat summer is 2025. Especially because there was something about me. I cut my hair, like I cut 12 inches of hair at like the end of 2023. And I kept going in for like trim sessions to keep it short. There was something about me and having short hair last year that was just not giving Brat summer. Like it was giving Whitney from Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. It just was, minus the baby headband. And so, yeah. So now that my hair's long, I feel a little bit more bratty, a little bit more like a baddie. Stream What Was That? Stream Girl, so confusing. Also, speaking of so confusing, we're almost in June. Huh? What do you mean we are almost halfway through 2025? That actually blows my mind to smithereens. I don't know how we're here, because 2024 moved at a glacial pace. It makes me think of that Devil Wears Prada vocal stem where she's like, by all means, please move at a glacial pace. Yeah, 2024, not only did it move slowly, it was just hell. Also, I would just like to say again, my child of God tendencies piping in. I live by the rule of, if it was said in the Bible, it can be said out loud. So ass, hell, and damn are all in the Bible. That is a direct quote that my mom has said on multiple occasions. So shout out to my mom. I'm allowed to say hell, ass, and damn. But I'm going to do my best to avoid it. But no, 2024 was hell. There's no better synonym for that. It was so awful. You could not pay me to relive 2024, even though I released both of my books that year. Like, in the author world, I made such big strides. In my personal world, I was a dying plant, and I never want to go back. So bye. 2025, however, 2025 literally is like a sprinter. Like short distance runners, like just straight gas pedal, moving so fast. I remember working an event in January, and it was like a big fancy like gala event. And I was like, I can't believe it's a new year. Like, it was just Christmas 5 days ago. Bah, 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 bah. And then I like went to sleep for the night, and I woke up and it was mid-May. Like, Easter was gone. Mother's Day was gone. I'm about to have my 3rd wedding anniversary. Huh? Like, it blows my mind. I'm going to be turning 25 this year. And I'm not saying it stressed out like that because I'm old. I'm not old. I'm 24. I am not old. Although y'all making me feel old with this whole romanticizing 2020 or 2014 garbage. I am not old. And I'm not saying that because I'm in denial. Like, it's just, I know I'm going to look back on some of these episodes one day and be like, oh my God, you were a toddler. You were just a baby. I am just a baby. That is why I say I'm just a girl. Please treat me as such, but with respect. I deserve respect. Yeah, I'm going to be 2020. I'm going to be 2025 years old. No, it's 2025. I'm going to be 25. The curse of being a 2000s baby is that, like, if it's after my birthday in the year, you know exactly how old I am. Yeah, that's embarrassing. It actually breaks my heart a little bit because when I'm actually old and embarrassed about my age, like, people are just going to read me like an open book, and that's really unfortunate. But something that is really cool about being a 2000s baby in my case is that this year is a quarter quell year, and it is my quarter quell birthday. In July, I will have quelled my first quarter, which is perfect because of all the sunrise on the reaping stuff that's happening right now. And I'm telling you, I am dying over this news. Today, today, May 21st, 21st? Yes, May 21st when I'm recording this. We got the best casting news. Period, hands down, point blank. Obsessed. I secretly wanted to record this episode like days ago, and I didn't because I was hoping that the casting announcement for the roles that I was most inclined to hear about or most hopeful for were going to be publicized, and they were. So let's talk about it. I am the most obnoxious Hunger Games fan possibly ever, at least in my city, at least in my my demographic. I swear to you, I am like that meme, the meme that's going around of Paul Revere like alerting everybody that the British are coming in the night. That is me every time Lionsgate and Hunger Games do collaborator posts and do like the slow-mo blur to the page where it's only the name of the casting that's being revealed and then the paper burns away to their headshot. And it always shows up no matter what time it is. It always shows up at the top of my Instagram feed. I don't have to hunt for it. Thank you, Jesus. Whew. That's how I know God is real right there. He controls my Instagram feed. Today I saw Elle Fanning. Elle Fanning showed up at the top of my feed after the pages burned away and revealed her headshot. I swear to you, give this casting director a freaking raise. Give him an Oscar or her. It doesn't, whoever it is. Give them an Oscar. Give them a raise. Also, what is the budget on this film? Because, oh my gosh, what do you mean you have Elle Fanning, Kieran Culkin, you have, oh my gosh, of course, now I'm going to start blanking. Oh my dear Lord. McKenna, oh my God, please tell me her name is McKenna. The girl who's playing Maisie. The girl who is playing Maisie Donner. You've got her in the chat. You've got Ralph Fiennes. Tell me I'm saying his name right. You've got Lord Voldemort playing Snow. Oh my sweet Lord. Oh my sweet Lord. You've got Maya Hawke playing Wiress. Get the heck out of here. Shut the front door and shut it on my toe. Because wow, I cannot freaking believe this lineup. This casting director is absolutely goated. And I'm telling you, they did their research. And by research, I mean they trolled every single social media platform that is like targeting the ages of like 19 to like 35. So everybody who is a tween or a teen in the OG Hunger Games movie run, I'm telling you, romanticizing those 2010s. There's a reason. We had taste, you guys. This casting director, I swear to you, he crawled through every chat room, every Reddit thread, this guy had to have been like an FBI agent, like scouring all of our digital records and conversations and TikTok videos about this cast, because almost every single person that is going to be playing a role in this movie is a fan cast that like the entire fandom got behind. It absolutely blows my mind. Am I a little sad that like the direct sons of like the past actors, specifically of Plutarch and Snow, didn't get cast, or maybe they didn't even audition? Yeah, of course it stings a little bit, but I mean, come on. Ralph Fiennes especially, holy moly, Lord Voldemort as Snow is going to be insane, because I'm telling you, I know that President Snow was old in the traditional trilogy, in the OG trilogy, and in the movies, like, of course he was old. He was in his, like, what, 70s? Maybe the 80s? I don't know. But even so, when I was reading Sunrise on the Reaping, the only two words that I could come up with for his character was senile and deranged. This man was terrifying in this book. I swear to you, Suzanne Collins saw all those young Snowthirst edits, and she picked up her pen, lit it on fire, and wrote the book. She was like, I think she'd said in an interview once before, she was like, I don't write anything unless I have something to say. Homegirl was so mad at us. She said, "Give me your phone, you're grounded." She was so mad. Oh my gosh. Anyways, yeah, these casting announcements have been such a big deal to me. I have haunted every single group chat I'm in. I have their post notifications on. I tell my coworkers about these announcements like they give a damn. They don't. They're probably like, okay, congrats, I guess. Anyways, yeah, I can't. Today alone, we got Kieran Culkin, Elle Fanning, and then I think if not today, then yesterday we got the Luella Lulu casting, which I thought they were gonna give us a oh my gosh, a Lindsay Lohan treatment of like the same actress is gonna play two of them, but there's gonna be like a slight change. I love that they casted two separate girls. I was shocked by their casting at first. I was still supportive because like this movie's gonna be Boss, but I was a little confused. And then I saw people post pictures of like one of the actresses and like her facial similarities to Jennifer Lawrence. And it was spooky, you guys. If you haven't seen those images, you need to go look them up. No further discussion. Like it just hands down, like, of course they cast her. This movie's gonna be so good. This movie's gonna be so good. And as much as I want to do a reread of this book before the movie comes out, I don't know if I can because holy hell, you guys, this book broke me. This book actually made me realize that I am a capital citizen. It was actually quite shameful to look internally and realize that the way I like froth over these books it's giving capital citizen because children are dying. And yet I am so consumed by the entertainment aspect of like, oh my gosh, when is this book going to release? When is the next book? When is the next games? Whose games are it going to be? Sydney, like literally go get a lobotomy. Pick up some human decency. These children, I don't care if they're fictional children. These children are dying. And I think it was the fact that we were reading about the 50th Hunger Games, the second quarter quell, that made me realize it because they were doubling the number. I still think about the book. It's one of those books that you give 5 stars because there's no way you can rate it anything less, but you probably are never going to read it again because it was just so much. And as you can see by my lovely desk right here, I have a few other books that I want to mention to you guys that give me that same hollow feeling. Like it's a good kind of hollow, but I'm definitely like my soul is empty when I think about these books. But I really wanted to give these other 3 books their flowers and just plug them, unprompted for a little bit. If you haven't read these books, you're insane. Please, I give you permission to leave this podcast and go read them right now, or add them to your Goodreads. So the next one on the stack is Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. It was a YA Book of the Month pick. I saw it on a specialized shelf in the Barnes & Noble, and it was just beautiful. I know that the original cover has like blue waves. I got the special edition one, so it's got purple. I am a purple fiend, and so it was worth it. And the pages are sprayed gold, kind of like Bible pages. So I was like, okay, let's try this. My book club read this book either last month or the month before. And mind you, when we vote on a book for book club, it's a majority rule, and I did not vote for this book. Okay, listen, it's not that I was a hater. It's that I really wanted to read a Hannah Bonham Young book for book club, and I just did not get my wish. This one won by like 1 vote, truly. But shout out to whoever that tiebreaker was, because this book was so gripping from the prologue. And usually that first chapter, if there's a prologue in a book, that next first chapter is usually, I don't want to say one of the worst, but it's really hard to gain momentum if the prologue happens like a really long time chronologically before the start of the first chapter. Like you as a reader feel this gap. And it's like if you're driving 90 miles an hour down a road and you literally slam the brakes and then you're back at like 40 and you have to reaccelerate. That first chapter is just so hard to like get back up to speed because you were so amped about this prologue and then you like choked it off and we're like, okay, the real lore is starting now. And you're just like, dude, what the heck? This book never let up for a moment. I really thought it was a truly stellar book. There were so many like fantastical elements, yes, because it's a fantasy, but also it really like sprinkled in the best parts of like a historical fiction. Um, Obviously, it has to do with like not time travel, but different times throughout history. Like, truly, you span at least 1,500 years. It's about these two soulmates, essentially. And in every lifetime, they live almost up to the age of 18, but they are lovers and one of them kill each other before they turn 18 in every single lifetime. And the cycle just keeps going no matter where they are or what bodies they're put into. They find each other. There's like a pull back to each other, and it's you want to try and figure out why they're killing each other. And it's when you find out why, oh my gosh, the buildup was just so delicious. It was so good. I think it's like a really good upper YA read, and I highly recommend it. By the end of the book, it's not that I was devastated. It's just that this author took a knife into my sternum, drew a circle, reached in and ripped my heart out, as one does, obviously. She did it so beautifully too that I kind of just like didn't mind. 5 stars. But again, 5 stars. I need some like long-term separation from this book. So, obviously maybe read this when you're in a good headspace. But if you really want to be wowed, this is the book. A book I did read the audiobook for is our next book, and that is Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. If you did not like Great Big Beautiful Life, don't tell me about it because it's now my favorite Emily Henry book. It was so wonderful. I'm also one of the polarizing people out there that had the perspective that Happy Place was Emily Henry's best book. It was my favorite. I really loved the dynamics between the characters. I loved the setting. I loved that it was an ensemble cast. And the romance was really good. There was lots of yearning, and I love a man who yearns. Oh, it's one of the best kind of motifs in a book ever. This book, however, I don't want to say that the man yearned, but what really did it was, I want to say that this book was a frame story, because obviously it's a story about somebody telling their life story to our narrator, if that makes any sense. This girl, her name is Alice. Alice is essentially competing against a Pulitzer Prize winning writer for the chance to write the memoir of a famed Hollywood starlet. I was like, not necessarily an actress, but a starlet. And it is based on the story of Rebecca Harkness. And if you Swifties know, obviously that is The Last Great American Dynasty. It's a fictionalized version of that sort of dynamic. So obviously I was listening to a lot of folklore when I was reading this book. I read this one on audio and I thought the narration was fantastic. The voice was really poised when it was getting into like the actual meat of the character's life story. And then it gave you that kind of lighthearted breath when you got out of it and you got back into Alice's perspective. I definitely cried. I remember at one point it got so good that I arrived at like my workout class and I quite literally almost considered just paying the late fee of like the no-show fee so that I could stay in the car and keep reading it. But of course, we worked out, it was good. And then I came back and I finished the book and it was amazing. So Emily Henry just really knocked it out of the park. It was a really refreshing read for me because I think I've been, especially when the weather gets warmer, I tend to read like lighter fare romances, contemporary books. I start to really drift away from fantasy because it's just so sunshiny and happy outside. And so I want a book that kind of reflects that season of life, I guess. Um, this book was really nice though, because it wasn't light. I mean, it wasn't like dreary, but it was very adult. Like this this felt like real stakes, and this felt like real adult um concepts and pieces of life that like aren't always pretty to talk about. You know, there's a whole plot line where Alice kind of just like accepts that her mother um either doesn't respect her or what she does with her career, and like even though it probably eats her up inside, she just like lives with it because she doesn't want to disappoint her parents. It's a whole deal. I felt very seen in this book, and I think you will too. um and if you like the concept of reclusive celebrity secrets being unveiled, I think you will like that book. And on the same subject of an older lady reaching out to someone to have a memoir written about them, can we talk about this last book, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid? Holy Mother of God. If you haven't read this book, genuinely, what are you doing? I take very good care of my books. When I was reading Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I beat my copy to a pulp. I had to finally go out. I finally went out, and my husband bought me this beautiful collector's edition, you know, with the 7 rings down not the spine, but the middle section of the pages. It's so beautiful. This book is so good, and it's so gut-wrenching, and there's so many different like tonal shifts in this book, because there's, you know, it's 7 different relationships. And, you know, I of course go into it wondering like, how could this person endure 7 different marriages? And you see exactly why. But then there's also the mystery of like, why is this girl that we're hearing this book narrated from, why is she the one that this celebrity icon asking to write her book? That's the whole point, because in Great Big Beautiful Life, there are 2 writers competing for the job. And it's like, okay, that makes sense because it's prestigious. Like, it's the story to sell. This one, nobody knows that she is wanting a memoir written about herself. And the only way that she's going to let a memoir be released about herself is if this one junior reporter works on it. And it's like, what I don't understand the connection. I don't understand like the meaning of it. And so it like sprinkles in a little mystery. Oh, I love a book with a little like mystery subplot. I'm not one to read like mystery as an A plot. Mystery as a B plot. Love it. I probably just smacked the heck out of the mic. So good. Oh my Lord. Mystery B plots reign supreme. Unbeatable. So good. 6-star read, if I could give it 6 stars. All right, y'all. That was a lot of yapping for this first episode. But I am going to wrap it up with a recurring segment I'm going to do on here called Words of Advice. My word of advice to you is that don't forget that LinkedIn is a very crucial social media to keep up with, especially if you're like me and you want to work in social media. Sweet Lord above, I have been working a job in social media and communications for 2 years. And in that time, have I posted even one thing to LinkedIn for myself? No. It just leaves me, because also as somebody that's trying to maintain a personal author brand, I'm way more focused on like social medias like TikTok and Instagram and sometimes Facebook, Blue Sky, things like that. And then sometimes I think about the fact that I need to show that I can actually do stuff in my like current industry. And I haven't posted anything on LinkedIn. So shout out to anybody in my relatively close but also wider like past college, high school connections circle of influence because you're probably going to get a LinkedIn request from me. Connect with me. I am so ecstatic to see where Talkwordy goes. It's been a long time coming for me. I have been wanting to start a podcast for so long. I have told coworkers who are now ex-coworkers, RIP, I miss you, I love you, you know exactly who you are. I've told them about how badly I've wanted to start a podcast, and they made the mistake of telling me that I would be good at it. And so here I am yapping into a microphone. This is your fault. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. Thank you for streaming Talkwordy, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, you guys.